Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Here's my old jotter book I used to jot down my dreams in my sleepy handwriting. Using my white PVA glue with a bit of water to make a quick decoupage glue. I've used this method in my previous journal spread at the link above. Before that, I forgot. I should have protected both my back pages with some rough papers. I'm also dabbing the glue on top of the paper, then spreading it with my wet brush. Same decoupage effect. Adding more glue to those missed out sections. Using my heat gun to speed up the drying. Now with my gesso, I'll give a pretty thick layer onto the paper, but not to the point of covering all those handwriting of mine. Main reason, I want a white mid-section for the spread's design. At the same time, I'm also actually trying to blend those torn edges of the paper in the middle spine. Here I have some stone-shaped stencil. Gonna use that one. With that, I'm using my Winsor & Newton modeling paste. It's almost invisible now since, well, it's white. Should be discernible once colors are in. Yep, always clean your stencils. I'll be now using these two acrylic paints by Folk Art. Gonna apply them with baby wipe. Gonna work with the lighter color first, which is yellow. Now with the brown. I wasn't too happy with how light the brown turned out to be. Nonetheless, I'll just dry it up first. Here I have a protective mesh net bottle sleeve. Cutting a small piece out of it. Using my black acrylic paint from Daiso, I'll mix it to the leftover paints there. Adding a bit more yellow as it's too dark for me. I've honestly never tried this before, so this will be an experiment. Yep, was not impressed with the results. Now that I look back, I realized the netting has a front layer of those string foams. That's why only one diagonal pattern lines got imprinted, not the expected crisscrosses. Here's a cheap clear script stamp. Gonna use my brown ink pad by Sukinoko with that. The imprints will not be too obvious, but they're there. Next, I'm going to use this old mixed alphabet stencil. Gonna still use that leftover paint mix with this sponge dabber from Daiso. It's dried up a bit, gotta wet that out. Not the best looking imprints for now. To let my mojo going, I'm gonna do some splatters with that remaining paint. I'm avoiding the middle white section. My brown vintage photo ink pad by Ranger. Want to etch the bottom here with my blending tool. Next, I'll be using the yellow from my watercolor set. Just some light watery splatters. Now with my black ink pad by Zucchini Co., I'm using my other blender for black to etch out all the four sides of the spread. Here's a leftover patterned scrap paper I have. Gonna punch some 2-inch circles from it. Folding the paper to get 2 punches. I'm gonna punch another one. Here's another round puncher with the size of 3.8 cm. That's about 1.5 inch. Gonna punch a couple of these. Testing out the placement first. Taking out my brown ink pad again, I'll be giving all those circles some edging. Unsatisfied, I'm planning to use my watercolor set again to give a yellow hue to those circles. I pulled out my black ink pad again to give the circles a second layer of edging. Now using my Liquitex matte medium, I'll start sticking the circles around the spread. same time, if you notice, as I spread the medium, my brush gets dirty with the Aegis inks, creating some shadow around the circles. I'll just leave them like that. Now this one was not punched properly at this edge, so I'm using it to stick it off my spread bottom area. Now here's a leftover printout I did of Jimmy Fallon. Using my matte medium again, I'll stick him to the spread. You can see my other spread of the same Jimmy Fallon photoshoot on the link above. There was a time in the art community where using a black and white photo for your works is considered cheating because black and white looks good in anything. But here is the only savior. Besides, this is the only black and white photo I have right now. Time to trim off the spread. I'll line my cutting mat in between those two rough papers. Then with a ruler and a pen knife, I lightly run the knife again and again until the paper comes off. We'll do the same to the rest of the 4 sides. Here's a bunch of quote stickers I printed myself, some with black and some with white backgrounds. I'm gonna choose the quote, "Change the world by being yourself." Snipping the quote into 2 parts. Using my Liquitex matte gel, I'll secure down those stickers. That dried, I'm using my charcoal pencil to give the quote some shadowy underlines. So that's it. Not the best, but I'm quite happy how it turned out. So thank you guys for watching. Happy journaling and bye.